Both Whitney Houston and Tina Turner pass on what would become their biggest hit. We talked to George Merrill, Shannon Rubicam. It's Boy Meets Girl on Rock History Music. Shannon and George co-wrote two number 1 hits for Whitney Houston, How Will I Know and I Want to Dance with Somebody. But it was a certain song that reached number 5 on the Billboard charts that made everyone know who Boy Meets Girl was, Waiting for a Star to Fall. It was my favorite pop song of the 80s. I had a lot of favorite rock songs in the 80s. It was a great decade. But as far as pop, Waiting for a Star to Fall was my favorite. Now here's a duo, husband and wife at the time. They're now divorced, but they work together. And as you'll see in this clip, they get along really, really well. They were at a Whitney Houston concert. They had just heard Whitney do one of their songs. And then the idea came. And then the idea came to Shannon first. It was a hit in many countries around the world, but like I said, number 5 in the US, Waiting for a Star to Fall.
Hey, George.
Hi, George.
Dig the glasses.
Poindexter glasses.
We're just telling Shannon that when my Shannon and I met in 97, she asked me on the first date, what's your favorite 80s song? Because I was a radio guy. And I said, well, Waiting for a Star to Fall, that's easy. And she said, that's mine.
No way.
So here we are 27 years later.
And there you guys are.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great way to start.
Wait, I have to go back. Shannon, let's see, 27 years. Okay, so that would put us 1994.
97.
97. Okay, 90. Okay.
Yeah,
we're.
For you.
Wow.
You want to talk about the big tune? There's a lot of bounces to Waiting for a Star to Fall. There's a lot did Clive Davis not like it in the beginning?
I think he liked it. I think what it was is he ran things by Whitney, and I think she either responded to it, it resonated with her, or it did not. And I think between she and Clive, they would nix songs and then, say, well, we'll go forward with this batch. And it just didn't resonate with her, which was our good fortune, actually.
Well, Waiting for a Star to Fall was like, what, 83 million on Spotify alone? Like, it's huge.
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Well, I know. Yeah, you made $10 on it.
I know.
Yeah. We can go to dinner.
One.
I'll ask you to tell this story a millionth time now. So you look up in the sky at a Whitney Houston concert. I'll let you tell the story.
She had just finished playing How Will I Know? And really, it was so cool. It's this beautiful night in Los Angeles. And, we're having an experience we sort of dreamed of, but we didn't really necessarily think was ever going to happen. And after she finished singing, really, people just stood up and started cheering. And I looked up and saw that star. So I sat down, grabbed my pen, my little notebook that I used to carry all the time, and just wrote down that phrase, Waiting for a Star to Fall. And I thought, I'll just put that away, and wrote it down so I don't forget it. And I know how this moment felt, so I can get back to it.
Yeah, it was, in thinking back on it, it was just a perfect night. And I remember at the time feeling that way. But it was not overwhelmingly perfect. It was just like, boy, everything's just going our way right now. And here we are. We got taken by one of the upper executives from Arista Records. Personally drove us to the Greek Theater, this outdoor venue, and we got sat right by the mix board, so the sound is incredible. We're watching. Whitney Houston do Saving All My Love and all these great songs, and everybody's just really into it. And then the beginning tones of How Will I Know came on. And everybody just like, it was this big, the whole Greek theater, everybody got to their feet and started clapping, and it was just this other kind of level that it went to, and we were in the midst of all that, and it was just so exhilarating. And I don't know if there's ever been another moment like it. Also to be in the presence of this emerging talent that everybody was being affected by that night.
Yeah, she was pretty electrifying.
Yeah.
We got the first, I remember in radio, something was going on. Tina Turner, we got Private Dancer. Everyone got free copies of Private Dancer. And I went, wow, they're really pushing this girl. Whitney Houston's first 2 albums, you know, speaking of, we got free copies. I remember going, wow, they're making sure, especially the sophomore, the second, they made sure that everyone got it. And that was rare in radio in Edmonton. I lived in Edmonton then. And I remember going, wow, this is Madonna's first 2 albums, like a Virgin, and then the first one. We got that. And it's always we look at each other and go, oh, this is important. Something's going on here.
Yeah. That's interesting to hear, because those are the things we never know, you know.
But anyway, I just came back from Vancouver Island to visit my older kids. I'm telling you this for a reason.
Nice.
And I talked to my ex-wife. I was staying with my ex-wife, and she said, well, who are you interviewing next? And I told her, and she says, well, haven't they broken up? I says, well, they still work together. She says, oh my God, they're an anomaly like us, because I don't work with my ex-wife, but I get along with her. And if I had to work with her, I had. Can we start with the awkward question? How do you two manage to make it work? Because exes are supposed to hate each other. They got stuff. And
man, we have to. I think it's baked into who we are. We get up in the, well, I'm speaking for us right now, Shannon, and I want you to pitch in on this too.
Oh, I will.
We eat, sleep, writing, and that was such a baked in part of our marriage, our life together. When we realized that the marriage was not going to work for us any longer, defining it was, we had to figure out how we were going to define that, and actually we ended up writing an album called The Wonderground, and during the writing of that whole process, the songs that came out of it, the intimate songs, I think they helped pave the way for us to find the words for each other, and find the importance of continuing the relationship in another form, but
we had a lot of very good reasons to continue. First and foremost was that we at the bottom of everything had a good friendship, and that was the foundation. And then we didn't want to blow up our daughter's world by getting into nasty fights and being antagonistic. And so we actually wrote out a pact between us after we got through some of the initial Sturm and Drang, and upset. Then we wrote out a pact, and we signed it and dated it, and it was a commitment to do our best to work through these things and come out the other side whole in some way.
But you're still an anomaly, though. I mean, my ex-wife and I and her husband, we'd go to parties together when I lived in Vancouver, and freak people out. And I'm going, is this that rare that you can do stuff with your ex? And it's like, we never talk about each other.
I think it freaked people out when they came to our wedding. So they both came to
Oh.
our wedding. So they're like, what?
Yeah, I know. Well, congratulations on that. I say,
Yeah.
as you know, it isn't necessarily easy.
Yeah.
It's the harder road in many ways, but much more fulfilling.
I think it's comfortable for people to take sides. I think that historically, and I think, in fact, it was funny. Shannon and I were just having a discussion about this yesterday. The redefinition may seem clear to us, like for you guys, and you're there in time, but the rest of the world is still playing catch up, and some of the world will never catch up, as we've come to find, even within our family. There are some people that will never quite see us in our new relationships quite, and embrace us. So but such is the world.
We'll have more from Shannon Rubicam and George Merrill of Boy Meets Girl coming up in a few days. Keep coming back to the channel for more from Shannon Rubicam and George Merrill of Boy Meets Girl. And when the whole interview is available, we'll put the link at the very top of every video that features them, so it'll be easier for you to find. And there'll also be links to the podcast when it's ready. Remember, if you want to make a donation to the channel and help us grow, there's a PayPal link at the very top of the description. Also, join our Patreon. You'll get early access to all our videos. Subscribe to our channel. We've got great swag. If you want to buy a t-shirt or a coat or a hat, it's all at the very top of the description, the link. But subscribe to the channel, like our videos, comment on them, and share them on social media. We'd appreciate that. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music.